A colonel laughed when Luna gave her excuse for failing the push-up test. But then, she unzipped her jacket. The field went silent. Beneath the fabric were scars carved by shrapnel, stories etched in flesh. What happened next shocked everyone, especially him. Luna Watson never liked mornings, but the army didn't care. At 0500, the whistle blew, and the recruits spilled out into the damp Georgia air. She tied her shoelaces tighter, staring for a second at the broken watch on her wrist. It hadn't ticked since Afghanistan, yet she still wore it, as if it carried her pulse. The training field stretched out in front of her, grass wet with dew, dust rising with every footfall. She hated this part not because of the sweat, but because of the memories buried in her shoulder. The colonel stood at the edge of the track, clipboard in hand. He barked numbers, his voice cutting the silence. Minimum 30 push-ups, no excuses. His gaze lingered on Luna. He knew her record, once top of her unit, now barely scraping the edge. Luna lowered herself to the ground, palms pressing into the damp earth. At the first push, pain shot through her back like fire. She clenched her teeth. 10 reps in, her left arm shook. 15, and the scar tissue screamed. By 20, her chest pressed into the earth longer than it should. The colonel smirked. "Watson, is that all you've got? Or do you need a note from your mom?" Laughter rippled among the younger recruits. Luna's fists tightened against the ground. Her eyes drifted toward the dusty road beyond the fence. She saw convoys there sometimes in her dreams, the road littered with smoke and twisted metal. That road was why she carried steel inside her body, why her back burned every time she moved. She pushed herself upright, trembling, sweat dripping down her jaw. The colonel scribbled something on his sheet, then looked at her with sharpened patience. "Excuses don't build soldiers," he said. Luna felt heat rise in her chest. She wanted to speak, to explain, but words jammed behind her teeth. She adjusted the broken watch on her wrist, as if reminding herself of time lost. The colonel stepped closer. "Watson, if you can't keep up, maybe you don't belong here anymore." Her vision blurred not with tears, but with fury. She bit the inside of her cheek, tasted iron, and stayed silent. She walked away from the mat, her steps heavy, each one echoing like a drumbeat. Behind her, whispers trailed at the edge of the field. She stopped, fingers tugging at the zipper of her jacket. Her pulse hammered. If words weren't enough, maybe truth was. The colonel noticed, narrowing his eyes. "Sergeant, what are you doing?" Luna's hand froze on the zipper, breath trapped in her chest, and then she pulled. The jacket begins to slip from her shoulders. The jacket slid down Luna's arms. For a moment, the field fell silent. No one expected what they saw. Her back bore scars, raised and uneven, thin white lines like lightning strikes. Dark pits, where shrapnel still lived beneath the skin. The colonel's smirk froze. His pen slipped against the clipboard. Luna's voice came low, steady. "Every push-up costs me blood you don't see." She pointed at a deep scar near her left shoulder. "That one, a piece of mortar, still inside. It grinds bone when I move." No one laughed. A recruit coughed into the quiet. The colonel cleared his throat. "Why didn't you report this properly?" Luna's lips curved into something that wasn't a smile. "Because I didn't want your pity, or your desk job." The colonel shifted, uneasy. He looked at the scars, then back at her face. For the first time, he saw her not as weak, but as someone still fighting an unseen war. Luna pulled the jacket back on, every button fastened like armor. She walked past the staring recruits, past the clipboard, past the silence. Inside her barracks, she sat on the bunk and pulled out a wallet from her duffel. It was old, leather-worn thin, empty now except for a folded piece of paper. She opened it. It was a convoy manifest, edges yellowed, names fading. That day, Afghanistan. Her unit had rolled out. She had checked every truck, her own handwriting scrawled across the page. A blast had torn the morning apart. She still heard the ringing in her ears, still smelled burning rubber and sand. That wallet was the only thing recovered from her pack, empty ever since. She ran her finger over the list of names, some still alive, some not. Her chest tightened. The barracks door creaked open. It was Sergeant Kearns, a recruit barely 20, freckles scattered across his face. He looked nervous. "Ma'am," he said, "the colonel wants you in his office. Now." Luna tucked the empty wallet under her pillow, the paper crinkling inside. She stood, stiff but steady. When she entered the office, the colonel was pacing. He stopped, his jaw set. "Watson, you put me in a position. What you did out there exposing yourself was reckless." Her eyes locked on his. "And what you said out there calling me out wasn't." The colonel flinched. He sat behind his desk, fingers drumming on wood. His voice dropped. "I didn't know, exactly," Luna whispered. He sighed, rubbed his temples. "You've still got duties, still got standards, but maybe I misjudged." Luna crossed her arms. "Misjudged? You laughed at my pain." The colonel leaned forward. "You think you're the only one with scars in this place. Prove to me you can still fight. Show me, Watson. Show me you're more than your wounds." Her pulse throbbed in her neck. She wanted to scream. Instead, she turned on her heel and walked out. The hallway smelled of dust and polish. She pressed her palm against the wall, breathing hard. Outside, the sun bled orange over the training field. She whispered to herself, "I'll show you." Her hand slid down the wall and touched the broken watch on her wrist. It didn't tick, but she swore she felt it beat. Luna signs up for the next grueling test, determined to prove herself no matter the cost. The dawn came heavy with heat. Soldiers lined up again on the training field. Luna was there, jaw clenched, jacket zipped. The colonel stood near the fence, arms folded, eyes sharp. His clipboard was gone. Today, he wanted to see. "Watson," he barked, "run." The track stretched out, gravel and dirt pressed flat by countless boots. Beyond the fence, the dusty road stretched farther, winding into trees and hills. Luna's breath caught when she saw it. Afghanistan had roads like that, roads where trucks never returned. She started running. Her boots struck rhythm against earth. Her lungs burned quick, but she pushed harder. The other recruits surged ahead, young legs eager. She trailed at first, body stiff, scars pulling with every stride. But the dusty road wasn't just dirt, it was memory. She had run down one like it once, carrying supplies, heart hammering under fire. She quickened. One soldier fell behind her, then another. Dust coated her lips, her tongue dry as ash dot. Her vision blurred, convoys flickered in her head, trucks exploding, a comrade screaming for help. The watch on her wrist growing heavier, though it did not move. She gritted her teeth, past another recruit, then another. Her chest was fire, but her legs refused to stop. At the halfway mark, the colonel shouted, "Faster, Watson!" Or is that all? Her blood surged hot. She dug deeper, past the ache in her lungs, past the stabbing in her shoulder. She ran until her knees wobbled. When she crossed the line, she collapsed onto her hands. Dust smeared her palms. Sweat stung her eyes. The recruits whispered. The colonel's eyes narrowed, unreadable. He stepped closer, boots crunching gravel. "You almost beat them," he muttered. His voice wasn't mocking now. It carried something else, something rougher, almost respect. Luna wiped her mouth, stood unsteady. "Almost isn't enough." The colonel studied her. "Tomorrow, obstacle course?" Her stomach dropped. The obstacle course: ropes, walls, mud pits, upper body strength, her weak point, her scars cruel reminder. She nodded once. Tomorrow. That night, in the barracks, she couldn't sleep. She stared at the empty wallet under her pillow, then at the broken watch on her wrist. She touched both, as if the objects might anchor her. She whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, I climb. Tomorrow, I bleed." Outside, thunder rolled across the horizon. The stormy night leads into the brutal obstacle course at dawn. The storm broke before dawn. Rain turned the ground into mud, ropes into slick snakes. The obstacle course loomed like a monster. Luna stood at the start, boots sinking into muck. The recruits shuffled, nervous. The colonel's eyes fixed on her. "Show me," he said. The whistle blew. Soldiers scrambled forward, slipping, cursing. Luna reached the first rope climb. Her hands closed around it. Pain flared instantly, nerves screaming where shrapnel kissed muscle. She clenched tighter, pulled one hand over the other, slow, ragged. Her scars stretched like old wounds, tearing open. She grunted, jaw locked. Rain stung her eyes. Halfway up, her grip faltered. She looked down. Mud swirled below, soldiers splashing through. She thought of that day on the convoy, dust turning red. If she fell now, she would fall forever. She bit down on her tongue, copper filling her mouth. One more pull, another, until her hand hit the top beam. She swung her leg over, rolled down the other side, hitting mud with a thud. Her body screamed, but she crawled forward. Walls, tunnels, barbed wire. Each obstacle stabbed her back, her shoulder. But she didn't stop. At the tall wall, she paused. It rose above her, wood slick with rain. Others were already over it. Her hands trembled. She touched her broken watch. "Time stopped once," she whispered, "but not me." She ran, jumped. Fingers clawed wood. She slipped, fell back into mud. Laughter rose from somewhere behind her. She stood again. Mud clung to her like chains. She tried again, and again. On the third try, she caught the top edge. Her shoulder screamed. The scar burned like fire.